Recently here at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, I had an unusual experience. I played a cameo role in a Bollywood film that was being filmed right here on the Kensington campus of the university. The film, From Sydney with Love, is the brainchild of Pratik Chakraborty and Anu Sharma, both Indian filmmakers who were educated in Sydney. They were both very upset about the violent incidents in Victoria, where several Indian students were bashed. And they were very keen to show India that Australia is actually a welcoming place for Indian students, Indian business and Indian tourists. The film is set both in Sydney and back in India, and will be released to improve relationships between India and Australia, things very close to the hearts of both the filmmakers. After the Bollywood film on campus, I went several kilometres away to the Sydney cricket ground to see the little master, Sachin Tendulkar, chase his elusive 100th first-class century. Of course, Tendulkar didn't do it in Sydney and he didn't do it in Australia. He later did it in Bangladesh, but it was amazing the amount of Indian participation at the Sydney cricket ground. Not only in terms of the support with the Swami Army that I sat with, but also in terms of the numbers of Indian businesses here in Australia doing business during the cricket. It's not surprising in a way, because when it comes to export destinations, if China is a test match, India is a 2020 game. 30 years ago, we often asked, "Where the Bolly, who are you?" because Australian cricketers and Australian businesses simply didn't go to India. India, from not being in the top 10 of our export destinations 10 years ago, is now in the top 4. And there's over 2,100 Australian businesses now doing business in India. In construction, there's Leighton's and Linfox. In finance, there's the ANZ, there's the Commonwealth Bank, Wizard and Macquarie. And in the franchise area, which is growing with Australia's burgeoning middle class and the growth of Indian youth, there's Gloria Jeans and Cookie Man. And finally, Woolworths and Tata have put together some joint ventures to take advantage of changes in the retail sector in India. Why has this occurred? Well, it's partly due to scale. According to the Reserve Bank of Australia, the Indian economy has trebled since 1990. And even in the last decade, the number of car sales has also trebled as India picks up more car ownership. Secondly, there's been great catch-up in India. Deng Xiaoping opened up China in 1980. The finance minister at the time, now the Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh in India, only started the reforms in 1991. So there's a lot of catch-up in terms of economic reform and in terms of infrastructure, particularly when you compare India to China and the great pace of reform that China's had. On the other hand, because India did take a long time to open up, it has grown a lot of very strong global brands under the economic nationalist policies of the Gandhi-Nehru dynasty. For instance, Tata, Mittal, Infosys are very well known on the international stage, and India probably hasn't had the outward investment issues that China has had in Australia and other Western countries. Finally, it's the power of people, and particularly the power of youth, that's really helping India. 50% of Indians are under 25. There's no issues with the one-child policy or immigration. They have a very strong population, very strong youthful culture. This is opening up opportunities in education, in franchise, in the retail sector that Australians are now taking advantage of, and indeed in education and in entertainment, as we saw in the Bollywood film that we had here at the University of New South Wales. For these reasons, and the general confidence of India globally, we can see that the Australian and Indian relationship is going to be much more than cricket, curry and Commonwealth well into the future.